Welcome to today's episode of the JJT Biz Growth Challenge series. Today I've got a guest who is Danae Groenewald. She is from, that's Groenewald, hey?
Groenewald, yeah.
Yeah, she's from Cheeky Socials. They're a social media marketing company, and she's going to answer a couple of questions I have regarding marketing. Welcome, Danae.
Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. All right, so let's get right into it. You ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, so the first thing is, for those who might not be familiar, what does a full service marketing agency such as Cheeky Socials, what do you actually do?
Okay, so as the name suggests, we handle the full marketing service. We come at it from a strategic angle first, okay, and we handle everything. So my business focuses on the social media aspect of everything, but because we do everything else in marketing, we also handle things like billboards, magazine ads. So we go from digital to traditional media.
So things like banner designs and
yes, yeah, we take your brand and we put it out in a consistent fashion.
Okay, all right. So what are the most common mistakes that business owners make when approaching marketing?
They don't do marketing. I think that is number one. And it comes up in different ways. One, it's not being consistent with their brand, not being consistent with the message that they're putting out there. I have a really good answer for this. Give me a second. Okay.
Crip notes.
Yeah, crip notes.
At least this isn't an exam.
Yeah, no, well. Okay. They're not clear on the goals that they have. They kind of go in saying, let's post anything, when that's not going to work. And then I've messaged the consistency. I'm so sorry, Jolene. Okay. Can we do that one again?
Okay. You want me to go from the beginning?
Yes, please.
Right.
Thank you.
So, Danae, what are the most common mistakes businesses make when approaching marketing?
So there's a number of mistakes that I see businesses making. One, they're not clear on their goals. They don't actually know what they're trying to achieve. And they're not tackling it consistently. What we find is even an imperfect post can be better than no post or a post without aim. So those are the biggest issues that we're finding at the moment.
Okay. And how important is it to have a clear brand identity before running a marketing campaign?
It is so important. It is so important because if you don't know who you are, how is your audience supposed to know who you are? If you are everything for everyone, you might as well be your competitor. There's a reason that the McDonald's arches are so recognizable. There's a reason that Cadbury has that purple. It's because as soon as you see that, you relate it to the brand. And even if you don't see their name, you don't see anything else about what they do in that piece of marketing, you know who it's for. And that's what we're trying to achieve with running our mouths. There we go. Cut that last part.
So, how do you determine the right marketing channels for different businesses?
So it really depends on the business itself and the industry that you're in. When you're looking at marketing channels, you need to know who your market is firstly and where they're showing up consistently. There's very little reason for somebody like JJT to be on Instagram unless you have a figurehead doing reels and that's giving out information. Because Instagram is so visual based, how do you make accounting sexy? That's kind of the question that you're asking. I mean, you could sit there like that. I'm sure that you'll get some views. It's fine. But that's kind of what you're trying to figure out. Where is your audience and what are they relating to? JJT, for instance, could do very, very well on LinkedIn because that's where a lot of business decision makers are. So knowing your market, knowing where to find them, and knowing the message that you're putting out there that you want them to respond to is essential.
So there's no across the board, everybody must be on all the social medias.
Oh gardens, no. If you are on every social media platform, I can immediately tell that you don't know what you're doing. Because again, you need to know it does not help being on every platform, because there's platforms that just aren't going to work for you, and then you're wasting time and money.
that makes a lot of sense. Right. So how can marketing directly contribute to a business growth and revenue?
Okay, there we go.
Hoping you have an answer for that.
I do. It's like the weirdest thing. I went through all of these questions and I was like, oh, I know the answer. And then when I was practicing, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never worked in my business a day in my life. Okay, so how does marketing contribute to revenue? So the marketing, what you're trying to do there is you're trying to generate leads. You're trying to introduce your audience to who you are so that they're further along in the buying process by the time that they're ready to purchase. Okay, so that was that. Yes. I'm answering the right one. Okay, cool. Okay, so you're building trust through marketing. That is the entire idea behind marketing. It's brand awareness and it's building trust. They need to know who you are and they need to trust you before they're willing to part with their hard-earned money. So that's what you're doing. You're building those leads, you're building that trust, you're building that credibility, and you're making it easier for your audience to want to work with you.
Okay. What are the most effective ways for a small business to generate leads without overspending?
Okay, so if you're looking at if you've got a smaller budget to work with, you want to be very smart about where you're putting your money. So that will look like prioritizing organic content over paid ads. Okay, so what does that mean? That means prioritizing your SEO, so your search engine optimization, through blogs, through newsletters, okay? Building that trust, building that brand awareness, building that pathway with your audience, and then leading into the paid ads. I always say, let's get your organic content ready first, right and ready, before moving on to paid ads, because what happens then, your paid ads are supposed to push your organic content. You're supposed to take your organic content, see what works, and turn that into a paid ad.
So you mentioned SEO. I've noticed recently whenever I Google something, I get a Google AI answer. Mm-hmm. Is that also something that you take into consideration when you work on the paid ads or the organic content?
Yes, 100%. So with the rise of AI, it's no longer just SEO. There's something called GEO. So that's generative engine optimization. So what happens now, what we're finding now, is that 60% of people are going to ChatGPT, for instance, and typing in accountants near me. And you want your name to come up there. But how do you get your name up there? You work on your SEO, because that is exactly what your LLMs, your AI models are working on. They're scraping the internet. They're scraping your website for those keywords. Do you answer this specific question? Yes, you're going to go into the list of sources. So it's a very interesting concept, because 60% of the market again is traveling that way. How do you get there? You do well with your organic content.
Okay, all right. So how do you measure your ROI, your return on investment, on a marketing campaign?
So that is all about tracking conversions. We're looking at cost per lead. Essentially, how much money are we spending and how much money are we getting back? And we want to be able to link certain campaigns to certain actions, to certain sales. So that might look like a lead form where you need to input some information in order to get a free ebook or get somebody to call you back or something like that. Or it could look like a promo code, say, Mr. D does this very, very well. I'm sure you go into your Mr. D app and it says type in this code for 50% or for 50 Rand off your delivery or something. That is how you can measure the success of your campaign. Okay, so that's kind of how we're trying to do it. It's very, very difficult to actually assess the effectiveness of a marketing campaign unless you have something very specific, a specific action that your audience has to take in order to achieve something.
And in terms of your spend on a marketing campaign, when you mentioned that you are tracking your cost per lead, from my point of view as an accountant, I think for a lot of business owners, the concept might be that you are paying per customer that you're essentially getting. You want to reduce that cost as much as possible. So in an essence, you're actually buying customers.
Well, there's always a cost of acquisition. It doesn't matter if there's a marketing campaign or not. It costs money to bring a client in. It costs time. It costs, you have to send out a proposal. So the section of your Sage Pastel account, for instance, there's a certain amount of cents. You're an accountant, this. Yeah, you can break this down really, really easy. There will always be a cost of acquisition, but I agree, it's 100%. You need to lower it as much as possible, and the way that you do that is kind of tweaking, making sure that your campaign parameters are set correctly. You don't. The worst thing that somebody can do is just launch, for instance, a Meta or a Google campaign and just see how it goes. No, you need to log in every day and see what's happening with those numbers. Are you targeting the right people? Are you targeting the right age group? Are they in the right location? We had an instance, one of our clients is a reflexologist based in Sandton, and she was getting hits in Cape Town. And she couldn't understand why that was happening. And we'd actually concluded that her Joburg audience had semigrated down to Cape Town. So they were in Joburg, but now they've moved. So now we've got to move it back to Joburg, because she's not going to fly down to Cape Town to do a session. So you've got to constantly look. And if we hadn't caught that in the day or two that this had happened, that would have gone on for a week or 2 weeks or a month. And that's wasted money. There's no return on that.
So that would then increase your cost per lead.
Definitely, yeah.
All right. So what role does social media play in today's market compared to traditional marketing activities?
So social media, I like to say, is your 24/7 salesperson. It is almost always online. I mean, things go down and it scares people, but it's 99% up. Okay. And what we're seeing is social media it's in everything that we do. It's the thing that people do in their downtime. You having lunch, got your lunch hour, the first thing you do is pull up Instagram or TikTok or something like that. Where we find with traditional media, they still have their place, but that's the thing, they have a place. They're not everywhere. You drive past a billboard, it's not right outside your house. You open the newspaper for breakfast, you're only going to read it in the morning during breakfast. Whereas social media, you've got your notifications on your phone, you've got people constantly going, have you seen this, look at this trend. So while traditional media definitely has its place, if you're not on social media, you are definitely missing out.
So they are supporting platforms and not replacing platforms. If I say that supporting platforms, your social media and your online, your digital marketing is supporting but shouldn't replace your billboards.
To a certain extent, I do feel that digital platforms are replacing traditional media. There will always be a space for the traditional media to a certain extent. I mean, newspapers are being phased out. Nobody really picks up a new magazine anymore. Yeah. If you think about how often you listen to the radio, to me it's only in my car, and that's if I couldn't be bothered to find a podcast or find a song I want to listen to. So it is eclipsing traditional media 100%, but you can't ignore traditional media. It's around for a reason.
Okay, that does make a lot of sense. But that brings me to my next question. How often should businesses review and update their marketing strategy? I mean, if the strategy was always traditional media, newspaper ads only, for the last 20, 30 years, they might now be irrelevant. So how often should they review their strategy? So
how we do it at JJT Socials is we've got a quarterly campaign. So that is the overarching message that we want to put out into the world. And obviously quarterly we review that every 2 months so that it's ready for the next quarter. And then every month we run analytics on our campaigns. So we know what's working. So we've got the overarching message, and then we've got the little messages in between. And we need to make sure what we're putting out is working. Should we be putting out more reels? Should we be looking at doing more informational posts? Are the trend posts, the trendy things? It's not trends. It is trends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is trends.
Yeah, the little trendy videos that everybody's doing, are those working better? Because your overarching message will fail if one of the pillars isn't working. What's the point of having an overarching message if you're not going to analyze and improve on it as much as possible?
So fairly frequently then.
Yes, definitely. It's not it used to be a thing of, okay, we'll buy a year's worth of magazine ads, or we'll put up a billboard for 6 months. It's no longer like that, because the marketing landscape is shifting so rapidly. You need to be on top of it.
Okay. So it should, your marketing should then essentially be a bigger part of a business owner's attention.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the thing is that your marketing builds into your business strategy. It's one of the pillars of your business strategy, because now you want to target a new market. You've got a wonderful product for this market. How are you getting it in front of them? How are you convincing them that this solves their problem? It's got to be baked into every step of your of your business strategy.
Okay. All right. So for the business owners here, some tips that might help them. What makes a brand memorable and effective in today's market?
What we're seeing, there's a big shift towards community. People want to be part of something. Yes, we are all online and we have access to everybody all the time. We have access to them there's always going to be a barrier. So what we're finding is businesses and brands that are moving more into experiential marketing, the pop-up stores, the come have a fun day with us kind of thing, those are building that memory. They're building that very positive brand association. So firstly, you want to be sure of who your brand is, who your brand serves, what your brand does. Okay, we want to know who you are, what you do, who you serve. Because that determines everything else. You can't be everything for everybody.
Yeah.
Have I answered your question? I feel like
I think you do.
Moved around.
I think what would make a brand memorable is it allows a person to feel included and to feel a part of it.
Yeah, 100%. People want to be involved. It's a very scary world that we live in, and people are looking for that community. Build that community, people will follow.
So the question is, what are some creative ways to engage clients and to build client loyalty?
Okay. So what we're finding is educational content is going so well. Again, your
This is what we're doing.
This is what we're doing?
Educational content?
Yes! I got so confused. Ooh, no, I'm okay. I was like, I've just started the answer. It's not that great yet.
But that's what we're doing.
But exactly, educational content. Because people want to feel communicated with. They don't want to just feel sold to. You kind of want to show the behind the scenes. You want to be transparent about who you are and what you do. There's a lot riding on who you are as a business. I'm sure that, everybody's kind of seen the state of the world, which is just wonderful, not terrifying at all. So people want to know that you hold the same values as them. And how do you do that? You educate them on that. You show them how you operate behind the scenes.
Okay. So how do you help businesses differentiate themselves from their competitors?
So we focus on what makes you unique. We focus on what your strengths are, and we double down on that. Yes, okay, cool. Okay, so we double down on those strengths. We show the processes behind your business, not just the outcomes. We don't say this is how we do it. We show the audience that this is how you operate. Good pause, yay. Yes, okay. So we want to show your audience that you are the solution to the problem that they have. And it's not just about competing on price. Everybody is struggling. That's just how the world works. So what makes you worth the extra effort? What makes you worth the extra time, the extra money? What can you solve that this client needs? And that's what we really, really focus on.
Okay. That's that your unique selling point.
Your
I
USP,
think.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly that.
I've heard of that. So what's the biggest mistake businesses make when they're trying to stand out?
Okay, so there's two things here. One, they try to be everything for everybody. When you stand for everything, you stand for nothing. Okay? You want to be very specific on who you serve and how you serve them. The second that we find is just hopping on trends that make no sense to your business. Yes, it might show a little bit of company culture. It might show, oh, cool, this company is cool enough to do this thing. But what does it actually tell you? What does it, remember, you've always got to think about the end audience, the end user. What are they seeing from this piece of content? What information are you giving them? And I find trends are fun. They are a great way to, kind of build a little bit of buzz. But whether they actually work or not, they actually bring in that ROI, very, very, very seldomly do they do that.
So trends are okay, but not all the time.
Yes. Yes, exactly that. Trends are fantastic. Again, they're fun. They build this rapport. It shows that you're not just, stiff upper lip, you're just a number to me kind of thing. But if you're constantly doing that, your overarching message, you're not pushing that out.
Okay. All right. So what does, let me rephrase that or get back to beginning. Stop stumbling over my own words here. What digital marketing tools or platforms do you recommend for small to medium businesses?
Okay. Small to medium businesses tend to be either owner run or they have a small team that is wearing many hats. So we don't want to overcomplicate that. In terms of posting, you want to look at, if you're just posting on Facebook or Instagram, Meta Business Suite is free to anybody who has a business page. It is fairly intuitive to use. You can pick it up quite quickly. Go with that. From there, you can schedule your posts. You can see analytics. You can see what's working, what's not working. You can respond to comments. Don't have to worry about that. If you're looking to post on other platforms such as LinkedIn or TikTok, things like that, you want to look at a different scheduler. So something like Hootsuite. Hootsuite does come with a bit of a cost, but it offers, you can put everything in one place to schedule, and it has deeper analytics, which is very, very helpful. Maybe not for the busy business owner or the busy team, but if you've got a dedicated marketing person who's actually going to look at those numbers, do that. And then I would also very much recommend some sort of client relationship management tool, some CRM. Monday.com is very popular. There's a great one, Hotcup. It looks like Outlook. It's wonderful. It's great. And that will help you go through the client journey. Who is this client? What are their pain points? Where are they, so that I can tailor my messaging to where they are?
So a little controversial, but how is AI? Is AI a tool that you should be considering? Is it something that you guys might be able to use in your company in providing the service? Or is that a taboo topic?
So I like to think of AI in this sort of aspect. You would never expect a plumber to go onto a job without their plunger. You can't expect them to unblock a toilet without their plunger. You cannot expect the plunger to work without some of that manual input, that manual labor. AI is a tool, and I feel if you're not using it, you are putting yourself behind. That being said, do not use it as a replacement. Okay.
That's a recurring theme that I've heard through some other interviews that I've had.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a good tool, and it should be used as a tool. It should not be used as a replacement service provider.
Exactly that. What we're finding is especially when businesses are doing their own marketing, they're relying on captions from ChatGPT. They're relying on ChatGPT to create their images for them. You can hear that it's ChatGPT. You can read it, you can pick up on it. There's buzzwords, there's ways that the sentences are laid out. There's AI loves to do this thing of, it's not this, it's this.
Yeah.
Okay. And immediately you can pick up on that. What you're doing is you are decreasing the human element of it. Suddenly you've gone from your audience going, oh, these people actually care about me, to I'm just a number. They're just using this to reduce costs. So use it as a tool, but teach it how you want it to work for you. Okay. My ChatGPT I use in a strategic capacity. And what I do is I word vomit into my ChatGPT. I'm like, this is the problem I'm having. This is the role I want you to take up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to word vomit at you. I need you to take what I've said, cut out all of the extra things, all of the ums, the buts, the you knows, the some things like that, and get to the core of the issue. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to brainstorm solutions. I don't want you to come up with solutions for me. I want you to just take my brainstorming and rank them in the most appropriate manner. This also goes back to the generative engine optimization, the GEO. If you're using a robot to write, it is only robots that will find it. Okay, so that's kind of the thing here. It is a wonderful tool, and I feel like if you're not using it, you are doing a disservice. But by using it to replace your function, you are doing an even bigger disservice to yourself, to your company, to your audience.
And I think to an extent, yeah, your audience, as you've mentioned. So what trends in digital marketing should business owners be aware of this year?
So the trends that we're looking at, short form content, your TikToks, your Reels, are still heavily, they are dominating the market. Okay, so you want to keep up to date with that. If you haven't started doing that, start doing that. It does not need to be perfect. I had this issue with some of my clients where I'd be like, just set up your camera and start talking. And then I had to do it for myself. And suddenly I've never used words in my life. But it's a skill that you need to practice and get better at.
I can vouch for that. I mean, I've been doing this for about 6 years now.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. You just
almost 8 years. Yeah.
Yeah, you've just got to start.
And I still cringe when I think back of those first 5 videos.
Speaking about the cringe, I find that a lot of people don't put things out into the world because they're worried about seeming cringe. But the thing about learning is that you've got to get rid of your ego. When you're learning something, you're going to suck at it at first. You have to suck at something in order to get better.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. Okay, that was a bit of a sidebar. Okay. Then also what we're looking at is AI helping with content. So we've kind of just spoken about that a little bit. Founder-led marketing. People want to know who they're working with, who their money is going to, what their values are. And there was another one. There was another one. Yeah, okay, yeah. The community-driven marketing, we've touched on that as well. People want to be part of an experience. So looking at that, your short form content, your AI content, your founder-led marketing, and your community-based marketing.
Okay. So how, and you've mentioned, you kind of answered this before, but how important is SEO, search engine optimization, and content marketing for long-term growth?
So what you're doing there, SEO is for discoverability. SEO is the thing that when somebody types in something into the Google machine, you pop up because you've optimized your content. Your content, your social media content, is there for credibility. That's where you're showing, I know what I'm talking about, I know who I'm talking to. That's so you've got on the one hand discoverability because you need to be visible in order to be chosen, but you also need to be credible in order to be the right pick.
Okay, so you also kind of answered this one already, but how do you help businesses balance organic growth with paid advertising?
Okay. So that is also really I had such a good answer for this one, so I really want to get it right.
Okay.
Okay. So organic builds trust. Okay. That we've touched on the credibility side of it. Paid is good for reach.
Okay.
Yeah. So organic builds that trust. Paid puts it out as far as possible. If you've got paid without organic, it feels hollow. It feels
AI.
It feels like you're just a number. But if you've got organic without paid, the ROI is slow. So you've got to kind of balance that and see what you're going for. My suggestion is always focus on your organic first, because remember, you're pushing your paid is pushing your organic.
Okay. So what? And I think you just answered this. What's the most effective way for a business to work with a marketing agency?
So when you're working with a marketing agency, you want to be completely open, honest, transparent. We need that communication. No agency wants to put out something that you don't like. On the other hand, you need to trust the experts that you have just paid. I've had a lot of clients come and go, well, I don't think that would work. I think we need to do this. And then it's an entire thing of having to pull the data from similar clients and say, well, this is what the data is showing. We can do it like this. I don't think it's going to work effectively.
If it doesn't work, it's not on us.
Yeah. But I mean, that nobody wants to say that.
Yeah.
Then we're also looking for timely feedback.
Okay.
With trends, with the overarching topics, with your monthly analytics, things need to happen. We're often building content plans 2 or 3 months in advance. So we've got sort of these ideas here that might need to change tomorrow. If we're posting, what's today? Today is Wednesday.
Yeah.
If we're posting on Friday, we need to get that feedback today, tomorrow, the latest.
So you still have time to process and upload and publish and all that.
And make sure that it fits the brand, because again, we don't want to just do the trendy thing where yes, it's fun to do. What are we actually saying? And then to round off, and we want you to commit long enough to see those results, especially in the digital space. If we're not doing paid advertising, again, organic is slow. You're not going to get those results overnight. So we've got to communication, feedback, and commitment.
So if you could give every business owner watching this, or normal people who are not business owners watching this, one marketing tip to apply today, what would it be?
Post the imperfect post. You can always make something better. You cannot make nothing better. The best time to post was yesterday. The second best time to post is today. And that's what I would say.
Okay. Well, I think that's a great tip. I mean, we've come quite far with this, and there was kind of done both. Posted imperfect clips, also not generating content and uploading, submitting because we're not happy with it.
Yes.
So we've come through quite a while, and my experience shows that's exactly right.
Exactly that.
Exactly.
We had that moment in Cheeky, where we were so worried about the content that we were putting out that we weren't putting out content. And I kind of looked at it and I was like, who would trust us to do their social media if we can't even trust us to do our social media? And what we found is the imperfect posts actually do better because they are genuine, they're authentic. People go, they're just people, and they love that.
on some of the shorts, I had this one conversation once. There was a time when during commuting, I would record videos in the car. So I'm just driving and I'm talking off the top of my head and things like that. And there's this one point in the one video where I don't see a pothole in time, so I hit the pothole, and the entire car shakes. And I'm like, it's a pothole. some of the comments are Jacques casually driving over a person. Something like
Exactly.
that. And that drove content,
Yes.
that drove engagement, and that.
Yes, and it showed that you are just a person. You're just like everybody else, and that's what we find really, really helps. One piece of content that I want to put out this year, I did the same. So this was in the moments where I was like, oh, it's really difficult sitting in front of a camera recording. So I also set up a car, a little I set up to record myself in the car. And it's literally just me riding around my neighborhood trying to speak about things. But of course, I go off on a tangent and I'm like, oh, look, there's a dog, But it works so well. We've tested it with a couple of people and they go, this is Donnay. This is the person that I want to work with because she understands. She knows she's just a person. She's just human. And yeah, that's what I mean by the imperfect post. Obviously you want to Q&A or QA. Yeah. You want to make sure that the spelling is right, and you want to make sure that the pictures is not blurry. But putting something out there already shows that you are committed enough to the process, to your audience, to your business, that you are willing to look cringe and look stupid and make mistakes.
Be approachable.
Be approachable.
You could be the best at what you do if you're not approachable.
Yeah.
You won't get business.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming, Donnay.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it. This was Donnay Groenewald from Cheeky Socials. My name is Jacques. This is the JJT YouTube channel. And thank you very much for checking out the video and for staying this long. If you enjoyed the content, please click on the like button. It will give us and Donnay some feedback. And if you want to see more interviews like this or more general topics of content that would be beneficial to business owners, click that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you're notified whenever we upload. And then again, I'm Jacques from JJT. Have a great weekend. JJT